I didn't mean to fall for him. Not like that. It started on a Friday, after basketball practice. The gym was clearing out, guys yelling over each other, slapping backs, throwing towels. Same chaos as always. But somehow, that afternoon felt different. The air was heavier, my chest tighter. And when Noah brushed past me in the locker room, my whole body reacted like it had been wired wrong this entire time. We'd been best friends since middle school. Noah was the kind of guy you could count on. Steady, chill, always down for late-night games or helping you move furniture your parents swore was light. We'd laughed through classes, survived breakups, and spent more hours in each other's bedrooms than our own. He was my person, my anchor, until I started noticing things I wasn't supposed to, like the way his laugh made my stomach twist, or how he'd pull off his jersey after practice, and I'd have to look away. Fast. That week, it got worse. I couldn't stop overthinking every glance, every shoulder bump, every silence between us that felt loaded. That day, most of the team left fast. Weekend plans, girls, pizza. Just the usual, but me and Noah stuck around. We always did. That was our thing. Wind down, talk, decompress. Except this time, the room felt way too quiet. Noah was sitting on the bench, head down, messing with his shoes. I was a few feet away, pretending to organize my bag, but I couldn't focus. My brain was a war zone, fighting off thoughts I didn't want to name. Then he said it. "You've been weird lately." Just like that. No smile. No teasing. I froze. My heart pounded so loud I was sure he could hear it. He continued, "You barely look at me anymore. You act like I've done something." I shook my head too quickly. "Nah, dude. Just tired." Liar. That word hit me like a slap. And then he stood up, came closer. Close enough that I could see the concern in his eyes. Or maybe it was something else. "You're not just tired. So what is it?" I couldn't speak. My mouth opened, then closed. My chest burned. And then I did something I hadn't planned. "I don't know what's wrong with me," I whispered. He looked confused. "What do you mean?" I looked at him. Really looked. And I couldn't lie anymore. "I think about you. Too much. In ways I shouldn't." There. It was out. Raw and ugly and terrifying. The silence that followed almost broke me. Noah didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there, like the room had frozen around us. I wanted to run, to rewind, to laugh it off and make a joke. But I couldn't. My heart was on the floor, and I couldn't pick it up. Then Noah did the last thing I expected. He sat back down beside me. Quiet. Close. "I've thought about it too," he said finally, voice low. That moment, everything cracked open. The pressure, the fear, the guilt. It all exploded into something I still don't have words for. A flood. A fire. Relief and panic all at once. And then, before either of us could back out, he leaned in. Just a little. "Can I?" he asked, voice barely a breath. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. Our lips met for half a second. Soft, uncertain, real. Then we pulled apart like we'd been burned. "We shouldn't have done that," I muttered, breathing hard. "I know," he said. But neither of us moved, and that was when we knew. We were in trouble. Not just because of the kiss, but because now that it had happened, there was no going back. We didn't talk about the kiss after it happened. That weekend passed in silence. No texts, no memes, no late-night calls. I stared at my phone like it owed me answers, wondering if Noah regretted everything. I replayed the locker room moment until my head hurt. His voice, the look in his eyes, that half-second of contact that flipped my entire world. By Monday morning, I convinced myself it meant nothing. A slip, a moment of confusion. Maybe I'd imagined it all. But when I walked into school and saw him at his locker, the truth came rushing back. He looked at me. Really looked. And it was all still there. Confusion. Tension. Something unspoken hanging heavy between us. We walked to class side by side, pretending everything was normal. But everything was not normal. In history, our knees brushed under the table, and I couldn't breathe. At lunch, we sat with the same crew, but neither of us said much. When his hand grazed mine, reaching for a napkin, I flinched like I'd touched a live wire. After school, I thought he'd bolt. Instead, he waited at the bike racks. "You want to come over?" he asked, eyes not quite meeting mine. "Yeah," I said, before I could think. His parents weren't home, but it wasn't like we did anything. We didn't even talk about it. We just played video games like always, except now every laugh, every glance, every time our hands got too close, it all felt loaded. This became our new normal. Weeks passed in whispers, glances, moments behind closed doors. We never said what we were doing. We never defined it, but it was real. I felt it every time we brushed shoulders walking side by side, every time I caught him looking at me when he thought I wasn't watching. But outside those quiet moments, we were actors. On the team, in class, in the cafeteria, we were just Zach and Noah. Best friends. Bras normal. The pretending was exhausting. I started noticing things, people looking too long, someone snickering when we left practice together. I told myself I was imagining it. Until Eric happened. It was a Thursday. Practice had run late, and the locker room was nearly empty when I pulled off my hoodie and turned to grab my bag. That's when I saw him, Eric, sitting on the bench behind us, scrolling his phone like he wasn't even paying attention. But he was. He watched us too closely, especially Noah. I felt the shift, suspicion crawling under my skin. After school the next day, I found a note in my locker. Sloppy handwriting. Just 3 words. "I know everything." My chest tightened. I looked around. No one was near me, but I suddenly felt exposed. Naked. That night, I called Noah, told him everything. He didn't sound surprised. "I think Eric saw us that day," he said. "I've caught him staring." "What do we do?" "I don't know." We didn't sleep much that weekend. By Monday, whispers followed us down the hall. Someone laughed when I passed by. One guy from the team bumped my shoulder a little too hard. No one said anything out loud, but we could feel it. Then it got worse. After lunch, I came back to my locker and found the word "freak" written in permanent marker. Big, got crooked black letters across the door. Noah found me staring at it. "Don't say anything," I muttered. He didn't. But he pulled out a water bottle and tried to scrub it off with his sleeve. Later that day, I skipped practice. Told the coach I had a stomach bug. I just couldn't be in the same room with the guys. Not when I didn't know who was behind it. Not when I didn't know who else knew. That night, Noah came over. We sat on my bed in silence for a long time before he said, "Do you regret it?" I didn't even have to ask what he meant. "No," I said quietly. "Do you?" He shook his head. "But I'm scared." "Me too." That was the first honest conversation we'd had since the kiss. And for a moment, it felt like we were finally going to talk about everything, define it, own it. But the fear was still louder. "Maybe we should cool it," I said, "just until things die down." His face changed. It wasn't anger. It was disappointment, like something inside him had been dimmed. "Yeah," he said, "okay." But nothing about us felt okay anymore. We stopped talking for 3 days. Not a word. Not even a nod in the hallway. It was easier that way, I told myself. Safer. But every time I passed Noah at school and didn't meet his eyes, something inside me pulled tighter, like I was shrinking piece by piece. I thought keeping my head down would make the whispers stop. But silence didn't protect me. It made me look guilty. People stared more. Some laughed behind their hands. I'd open my locker and brace for another message. I avoided the gym, took different hallways, stayed out of sight. But it wasn't working. One morning, Coach pulled me aside after warm-ups, said he'd heard some talk, and asked if everything was okay at home. At home? Like that's where the problem was. I nodded, kept my voice steady, and lied through my teeth. He didn't press. After practice, I found Noah waiting by the bleachers. "You're avoiding me," he said. "I'm trying to keep things calm." "This isn't calm, Zach. It's fake." I looked away. "People talk, Noah. So let them. You don't get it." He stepped closer. "Actually, I do." I didn't answer. I couldn't. I just walked away. But later that day, I got a text from him. Just 2 words. "I'm done." It hit me harder than I expected. Not angry, just final. That night, I stared at my ceiling for hours. I thought of all the times we used to laugh until we couldn't breathe, the inside jokes, the way I felt when he was next to me. And then I thought about how fast I'd let fear erase all of that. Next day, I walked into school expecting things to be worse. I wasn't wrong. Someone had printed photos. Grainy screenshots from a hallway camera, just blurry shapes. But the message was clear. Me and Noah standing close. Too close. Someone had taped them all over the boys' bathroom. By lunch, everyone had seen them. When I stepped into the cafeteria, the room quieted. Then the whispers started again. A few guys from the team laughed loud enough for me to hear. I looked around and spotted Eric in the back corner. He wasn't laughing. He was watching. I found Noah sitting alone. He didn't look up when I sat down. "You saw it?" I asked. He nodded. "I'm sorry," I said. I should have said something. Defended you. Us. There is no us. Remember? I didn't mean it like that. I know what you meant. I wanted to fix it, say the right thing. But everything felt broken. Like no matter what I did, it would just come out wrong. Then someone slammed their tray down behind us. Eric. He stood over us, arms crossed, smirking. "Cute pics," he said. Noah looked up. "What do you want?" Eric shrugged. "Just making conversation. You two make a great couple. Didn't peg you for the type, Zach." My fists clenched under the table. Noah stood up. "Got something to say?" he asked. Eric laughed. "Relax. Just trying to figure out which one of you wears the—" I stood up too, heart racing. But Noah beat me to it. "No one asked you," he said, loud enough for the tables around us to hear. "You got something to say? Say it. Otherwise move." The room went still. Eric didn't expect that. His face twitched, but he backed off, muttered something under his breath and walked away. Everyone stared. Noah sat back down, like nothing happened. "I shouldn't have made you do this alone," I said, quietly. "You still going to keep pretending?" he asked. I shook my head. "Not anymore." He looked at me, really looked. "Then say something, out loud." My chest tightened. I stood up, took a breath, and then I said it. "I'm not hiding anymore." The words weren't loud, but in that cafeteria, they echoed. Some people looked away. Others just stared, but no one laughed. Noah smiled, just a little. And for the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe again. Coming out in the cafeteria didn't change everything overnight. It wasn't like the movies. There was no applause, no dramatic music. Just silence. And stares. That night, I didn't sleep. The next morning, I hesitated outside my front door for a full minute. I wasn't sure what I was walking into, but hiding didn't feel like an option anymore. At school, the whispers came back, but quieter. Some kids still looked at me sideways. Some avoided eye contact. But no one said anything to my face. The team was worse. In the locker room, no one spoke to me. A couple guys shifted away when I sat down. One of them got up and changed on the other side of the room. I didn't blame them. I just sat there, tying my shoes slower than usual, pretending not to care. But inside I felt like I was falling out of place in a world I used to know. Coach didn't say much, but I caught the change. He didn't call on me during drills, didn't nod like he used to when I made a clean shot. It wasn't what he said. It was what he didn't. That hurt more than the silence. Noah wasn't at practice or at school the next day. When I texted him, he answered with one word: sick. But I knew it wasn't the flu. I left him alone for 2 days. Then I couldn't anymore. On the third afternoon, I walked to his house and knocked. No answer. I knocked again. The door opened a crack. Noah stood there, pale, eyes tired. He didn't say anything. I just wanted to see you, I said. He stepped aside and let me in. We sat on the floor of his room in silence for a while. I thought it would feel better, I finally said, being honest. It does, he replied, voice flat. Until it doesn't. I nodded. The team's icing me out. He looked at me. You surprised? No, but it still sucks. Noah shifted. My parents found out. That got my attention. How? My dad saw one of the photos, asked me about it. I didn't lie. I swallowed hard. How did they react? My mom cried. My dad didn't say anything for a full day. Then he told me to stay away from you. My stomach turned. Are you serious? Noah nodded. He thinks you corrupted me. I know. We sat in silence again. You think we made a mistake? I asked. Noah didn't answer right away. No, he said. But I'm tired. Of what? Of feeling like I did something wrong just by being myself. I didn't know what to say. That night, as I walked home, I kept replaying his words. I wanted to fix things for both of us, but I didn't know how. The next day, Coach called me into his office. He sat behind his desk, arms crossed. You're a good player, Zach, he said. Thanks. But there's been some tension with the team, with parents. I stayed quiet. You sure you want to keep playing? My throat tightened. Yeah, I do. He nodded once. Then I suggest you stay focused. Keep things professional. I understood what he meant. Don't talk. Don't make waves, just play. Got it, I said, even though I didn't. After that, things blurred. School, practice, silence. I missed Noah more than I wanted to admit. Then something changed. Friday afternoon, last period, someone taped a new sign to my locker. This one didn't say anything hateful. Just 3 words. You're not alone. I looked around. No one was standing nearby. But something shifted in my chest. At lunch, a girl from my math class sat next to me. Said hi like it was normal. A junior nodded at me in the hallway. One of the bench warmers on the team passed me a ball during warm-up and didn't flinch. It was small, but it mattered. That night, I texted Noah. We're not the only ones. He replied, I know, I'm just not ready. I'll wait. 2 weeks passed. Noah didn't come back to practice. He was at school sometimes, but we didn't talk much. A few passing glances. A few nods in the hall. That was it. I missed him, more than I could explain. The locker room was still cold. The team hadn't said anything cruel, but they hadn't said anything kind either. I kept showing up, kept my head down, did my drills. I wanted to quit a dozen times, but something kept me going. Maybe it was stubbornness. Maybe it was the memory of Noah telling me, "I'm tired." So was I. But I wasn't ready to give up. Then came the morning everything changed. It was game day. Senior night. Our last home game of the season. The stands would be packed. Families, teachers, classmates. All of them. I didn't sleep the night before. My stomach twisted from the second I woke up. At school, no one said much, but there was tension in the air. I felt it every time someone passed me in the hall. It wasn't hate. It was expectation. People were waiting to see what I'd do. If I'd break. If I'd disappear. Coach gave his usual speech before the game. I barely heard it. Then, as we were walking to the court, someone grabbed my arm. "Noah." He looked serious, steady, focused. "I'm not hiding anymore," he said. I blinked. "What?" "I'm coming out. Today. I want to do it now." "You sure?" "No," he said. "But I'm doing it anyway." We stepped into the gym together. Everything stopped. The noise, the movement, the casual chatter of the crowd. Noah walked right to the bench, turned to face the team. "I'm gay," he said. Clear. Sharp. No shaking. "And if any of you have a problem with that, fine. But don't act like I don't belong here. I've played next to you for years. That didn't change because of who I like." No one moved. Coach looked stunned. A few players exchanged glances. Then one guy, Marcus, our point guard, stood up. "All right," he said. "Cool. Can we warm up now?" That was it. No drama, no explosion, just a small shift in the air, a new normal settling in. Noah turned to me. "You ready?" I nodded. "Let's go." We warmed up like we always had. Together. When the game started, I felt different. Lighter. Not because the crowd was cheering louder, not because we were winning, but because for the first time in weeks, I wasn't pretending. At halftime, a teacher I barely knew stopped me by the water cooler. "What you did today," she said. "That took guts. You made some kids in these stands feel less alone." I didn't know how to respond, so I just nodded. After the game, Noah's dad didn't show up, but his mom did. She stood by the exit, arms folded, nervous but present. When Noah walked up, she pulled him into a hug, said something I didn't hear. He smiled. That was enough. Coach patted my shoulder on the way out. "You played smart today," he said. "Thanks." He paused. "I was wrong to make you feel like you had to shrink yourself. You earned your spot on this team. Nothing changes that." I didn't expect that, but I was glad he said it. As the gym cleared out, Noah and I walked toward the parking lot in silence. "Think it gets easier now?" I asked. "No idea," he said, "but I think we'll deal with it better." "Together?" He looked over. "If you still want that." I never stopped. He didn't say anything, just smiled and bumped my arm lightly. That night we sat in the back of his truck, parked under the same sky that had always been there, but everything felt new. We didn't kiss, didn't make any grand declarations. We just sat, quiet, steady, side by side, and for once, that was enough.